You see, I want to do something super cool. So I got Clive Barker's Nightbreed #1. What I wanted to do was, I wanted to do a special Halloween episode. Like, you know how real channels for like movies and video games and stuff, they'll do like a spooky Halloween episode with some spooky Halloween stimulus, and then they'll have like, they're on camera and they got the fake candles and they got spooky spider webs and shit. That's what I wanted to do. And I was like, if I get a Halloween comic now, I can figure it out by the time Halloween rolls around. However, this comic is almost exactly like the first like 10-15 minutes of the movie Nightbreed. Not spooky at all, really. So, you know, that's what I get for trying. So, if you don't know about Nightbreed, it's a movie that came out in the 80s, written by Clive Barker, the guy who did Hellraiser, all sorts of other literature and stuff, but that's his movie claim to fame. And it was directed by David Cronenberg, who's done all sorts of body horror movies. The one I know off the top of my head is Scanners, you know, with the head explosion. You would think that would result, these two titans of horror, would result in an insanely awesome movie. You'd be mostly wrong. Honestly, I don't even know if I like the movie. I know every couple of years I watch it because I'm like, the name is fucking dope. Nightbreed. But it's one of those things where the studio interference sort of fucked it up, and I recently saw the director's cut, which added about 20 more minutes of footage, and that one is better than the original, but it's still, I don't know. But I do like that it has practical effects. Some of the monster creatures look kind of cool, but I just don't know if it's a good movie. And it's turned into a little bit of a cult classic situation. Now, this came out in 1990, but apparently there was a Nightbreed comic that came out in 2014, so what the fuck? I don't know, but the reason I'm still doing this is because I like the art in this, and supposedly this is closer to the script, so there are slight differences, but not even that really, but whatever, let's just go. Let's just have some fun, I guess. So you see this, this is the art style right here, and the only way I know how to describe it is, it looks like fantasy art, and I don't read any fantasy anything, but I feel like in any sort of movie I've seen, when some fantastical shit's going down, somebody cracks open a book and it's colored this way and it's drawn this way. I don't know. So this is just going to be a refresher for the first 10-15 minutes of the movie Nightbreed, or maybe you've never even seen Nightbreed, which is probably the majority of you. I mean, well, unless you're a crazy person just searching Nightbreed every day, waiting for just new Nightbreed content. Like, Jesus, it's not even that great of a movie, but let's go. There's a place where the pain ends, a place where night's chill kiss brings absolution, sparking life in tortured shadows, a place where the monsters go. Very dramatic, I'm into it, I like it, so let's just go. Okay, so the movie does not start at a zoo. So, sorry about that. We see Boone and Lori here, they're having a gay old time at the zoo, and this Boone, he's a lady killer. Hey, look, what's that? It's a wild ass pincher. Oh man, how are you, Boone? You gotta catch it if you want it, Lori. I would suggest not doing this. If you somehow manage to find yourself in the year 1990, again, go at it. This is in play, this sort of stuff. Plus, they're already going out, so it's a thing. But they end up at the aquarium, and Lori, it's not funny that she lost him. We see, boom, there's a shark. Put a shark in the cover, I would have had zero question about buying this comic. Also, bullshit on a hammerhead being in captivity. You put a shark in a comic, it better be accurate as fuck, otherwise it's going to take me out of it. And then he does this, which, I mean, Boone, did you even look? I mean, this is honestly a marvel of science that they managed to keep a hammerhead shark alive in captivity. And you do this? It's not, I mean, there are sharks that do have horns on them, so, but, I'm just saying, though. And then we see, school children are like, oh, and then we notice that Boone and Lori are getting down at the aquarium. Now, that's giving me ideas, but unfortunately for me, the closest real aquarium is in Atlanta. And that's like a 5-hour drive just to like, I don't know, bang next to some whale sharks? Is it worth it? I don't know. And we find out that, you know, they've been going out for a year. And apparently a year ago he wasn't doing so good, but he's in love, which apparently is the most important thing to be in life. What? He has a job, he's got one more therapy session with his shrink, and he is done. And my past's all over with. I don't know how all those things equal, hey, you didn't do any of this stuff in the past. I don't know, is this a permanent record situation we got going on here? I'm not sure. I feel like I've come back from the dead. That's what we call in the biz foreshadowing like a motherfucker. Not subtle. I want to live with you forever. Oh, God. You know he's dying. I'll never leave you. Oh, God. Don't ever verbalize these things. I'll skip this page, but Lori's like, hey, you gotta come watch me sing, which they've been going out a year. He hasn't watched her sing. Doesn't give me faith in her musical ability. More on that later, because I have a real issue with the scene in the movies. But we cut to the suburban sunset. We're seeing this quintessential married couple. He's having some beers with his feet up. She's bringing him food, calling him fat, and we see this kid yelling for his mommy. Ugh, kids are such buzzkills. And she says, hey, sweetie, you're supposed to be Betty Bye. I heard something. What did you hear, honey? Bad man. Heard a bad man, mommy. What does a bad man sound like? I need specifics, because the spectrum is all over the place. There could be a bad man lurking around in there, and he says, hey, kid, I'm going to rape you, and then I'm going to rape your teddy bear. That's very bad. That's bad news. Or he could just be going like, psst, you're bad at spelling. That still falls under the umbrella of bad. I don't know, kid. I mean, if I'm your mother, I need specifics. I'm going to walk up all those stairs. I'm feeding my man. I'm about to get some of this fat husband D, so, you know, I need specifics before I deal with you, child I had. She tells him everything's okay, you go back to bed and I'll come up and see you in a minute. Yeah, how's that sandwich? In the movie, it's lemon meringue pie, because in the movie, she opens up the freezer and you see like 15 lemon meringues, and it reminded me, I've never had lemon meringue. I don't think I'm a lemon fan. I'm not sure. The kid is pretty damn sure he heard something, but it's like, what is it even? And we see this right here, the bad man, yeah, I'd say, slashing, Melissa, where's my goddamn sandwich? This kid is absolutely no help whatsoever. If you want stuff done, you gotta tell your father. You tell your mom stuff, And if your father says go tell your mother, then mom is always the backup plan, is my understanding. Oh, God, no, she's longer than the table. And this is the killer's dialogue in the green box. He says, shakes them out of the rut, shows them there's more to life than television. People should know that. They live in a real world. A very real... Oh. Yeah, rewatching this movie like a month ago, I'm like, that's why he kills? That's it? That's why he kills? To be like, hey, your shit's too normal. And you don't even give them the opportunity to change. At least Jigsaw, he gives them the opportunity to change their shitty lives after they've done something shitty. These people, they just want to have, sad living room sex later. But I guess they gots to die. I understand, of course. And then he has to kill the husband. And oh no, there's also a baby that, this kid, he's just standing at the top of the stairs, do some stuff. And then we see this. We see the killer dragging the dad up the stairs, and I gotta tell you, I'm very impressed by his strength. That man is all dead weight. And he's pulling him by the hair. Very, very strong. Very, foreboding, impending doom presence. And then we get a look at our killer's face. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I think the serial killer's look is what really makes there's a lot of stuff going on in Nightbreed that I could see the cult classic aspect to it, but I feel like, yeah, this look of the killer, people are into it. And I will note, sometimes in the movie he does have the button eyes, sometimes he doesn't, which, man, you know how motherfuckers always be losing buttons, and you're definitely losing these. Also, you can't see. Also, this is Coraline. I've never watched Coraline. I think it's also a book. I've never done it, but as soon as I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, Coraline, yeah. Coraline did it. Long story short, he kills everybody. I'll skip this page over here. But it differs from the movie in that Lori, she's calling Boone to leave a message like, hey, are you not coming to watch me sing? She's singing for 2 nights. He misses the first night. Who gives a shit? And there's another guy named Niles or something. Yeah, Niles. And apparently he was in Lori's band, but she slaps him. And he's like, Boone's fucking banana brains. Cuckoo bird banana brains, I'm sorry. And she's like, get out. So that's the difference from the movie. And then we see the cops have arrived here. I love this artwork, seriously. And then we learn that this guy is a serial killer. I mean, he's killed 4. Would you call it... Okay, if somebody just killed 4 people in the same house, would you call that a serial killer? Or would you just... I would just call him a murderer. I would just call him, you know, a killer who's not even trying that hard. I mean, come on. At least when Ted Bundy killed a bunch of people in the same sorority house, it was pretty ballsy. I mean, you know, half of your body count were children. Can we even count them? Put the 2 kids together and we'll count that as 1 kill? I don't know. But we find out that this is the same profile as the others. What, just stabbing people? I mean, they don't know about the mask and the weird shit and the your life is so mundane shit, so whatever. But, oh, and the babies, yeah, they're dead. This psycho must have trained in a Japanese steakhouse. Boom, got it. It's a Japanese man. Put them all in camps. Wait, did we do that before? Is there a thing where we put them in camps and we were kind of wrong about putting them into camps? Damn him to hell. If we can't even protect the kids, what bloody use are we? There's monsters out there. This is very heavy-handed. What is going on here? And we can't even protect the kids. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, and then we see, you know, Boone and Lori, they're talking on the phone. I'm just showing this panel because he's like, hey, I got a surprise for you. And it's a weird surprise. Okay. So he's gotten her a guitar, which she only sings in the movie. So maybe it's this passive-aggressive, hey, you always said you wanted to play guitar. Fucking do it, Lori. But it has the symbol for Midian on it, which is insane. And in the movie, and I think later in the comic, you see this, because Midian is a cemetery, so it has cemetery gates. I mean, that's the only place you're allowed to have cemetery gates. Also, it's a Pantera reference. I don't even know how to do it, just Pantera reference, there you go, boom, nerds. So, it's weird that he would put the logo of the Nightmare Dream Place on a gift for his girlfriend. And also, he put her name in the fretboard, which seems like a super juvenile gift. Like, hey, this has your name on it. Just think of, like, any weird relative you've ever had who doesn't really know you, and they're like, hey, look, I got you a bicycle license plate. Lindsey. We haven't spoken. So, I know your name, so that's the deal. So, Boone, he goes to his shrink, Dr. Decker. He's only got 1 more session, and then apparently his whole past is forgiven. I don't know, the 90s, well, this, technically, the late 80s are a weird time where I guess we just shredded files based on doctor visits. I don't know. But he's saying, so he's been drugged, and obviously you need to be putting that in biohazard trash. I mean, come on. Or at least reuse it. Am I right? It's the 80s. Everybody's reusing needles. Let's go. I'm thinking, I can remember whenever I was in the ward, I was always fascinated by the things people would cling to. Trinkets, keys, photographs, like sacred objects, talismans against insanity. That doesn't sound like drug talk to me. You need to up that dosage. What do you cling to, Aaron? What's a scene to you? Midian. Ah, yes, Midian. Tell me about Midian. A name, a place, an image. I heard it whispered time and again. Different people, different clinics. If a lot of crazy people are talking about it, I'm skeptical. A mythical city, a place of refuge, absolution, a place where they'd take you in, no questions asked, and all your sins would be forgiven. They used to say even a monster wouldn't be refused in Midian. Who, the other insane people? Come on. So, Boone refers to himself as a monster all the time. It's how I felt, cut off, different, an outsider. And exactly what were the crimes you thought would be forgiven in this Midian? You know, my dreams. You know what I used to... Okay, this is the part that kind of falls apart here. So in the comic it mentions that he has had psychotic episodes and schizophrenia. I think I skipped over that, or it hasn't happened yet. My bad. But just know that it mentions it. In the movie, it doesn't mention it. He just goes to here and he's like, hey, look, I'm better. And you don't ever know what he's better from, but you also know he has nightmares. So that's one of the glaring things in the movie that I'm like, how is he bad? But they don't want to make him a killer because he's our protagonist and we have to feel for him or something. But at least in the comic we know, oh, he was schizophrenic and he did have psychotic episodes. So that's something I learned, whatever. So Decker, he recorded their sessions, very vivid dreams of him murdering people, and then he comes out of it. And he's like, alright, I'm done, right? Oh, here it goes. Lost cause, schizophrenia, psychotic episodes, severe hallucinations. Oh, 16 minutes. Jesus Christ, why has no one stopped me? And then, okay, what he does is, 2 days ago the police brought me some photographs. They wanted to know if any of my patients were capable of what they depict. And he asked them if he can see them. Oh my sweet Jesus! And it's all murders. 6 families, all within driving distance of Calgary, all dead exactly as you described them in your dreams. Okay, so it illustrates it better in the movie, because in the movie Dr. Decker, he goes into his very weird office and he looks at his Coraline mask and his knives. In this, you can't really tell that it's him, but basically what I'm understanding is, well, what I know to be fact, Dr. Decker is Coraline. He's the button man. He's the serial killer. And I guess what happened is, Boone, he goes to him, he has these really vivid, murderous, heinous dreams, right? All of this. And then Dr. Decker goes out and he replicates them. Because he's an unimaginative murderer? I don't know. I feel like if you're going to be a murderer, be creative. At least have your own ideas, your own niche or something. Don't steal someone else's murder plans. That's the worst type of creative theft. And so he says, look, I can't protect you if you're a killer. I'm going to give you 24 hours to go to the police. That's as long as I can leave it. If you haven't complied then, I'm afraid I have to tell them. So he gives him some pills, and Boone runs off, and I'm sorry, Aaron, I can't tell you how sorry. And so my question is, okay, in the movie he also gives him this ultimatum. So what's Decker's game here? Because I'm not understanding. So Decker, he has taken Boone's nightmares, made them reality. And now, because the cops still have zero clue, they only know that it's the same guy, he's framing Boone for these murderers, where the cops aren't even suspecting Decker whatsoever. So when they conceivably charge Decker for these crimes, or charge Boone for these crimes, Decker is going to stop being a murderer? Because I don't think he can. I'm just saying. So I don't understand what the idea is here. Keep letting Boone do these things. Or I guess because maybe he's doing this because this is their last session and now Decker doesn't have any blueprints, doesn't have a script for his murders, so he's like, well, I can't murder anymore. I don't have my muse. I don't know. So he goes and he watches Lori, and I probably shouldn't mention this because we're almost at the 20-minute mark, but in the director's cut, I don't remember if it's in the regular movie because the director's cut, the one I watched like a month ago, they let her sing this whole goddamn song. Johnny be angry, Johnny be They played the whole goddamn song. It's like 5 minutes of just her looking around this, like, in the movie it looks like a western bar just singing this song. Oh, and I just have to say, if you're making a movie, if you're doing something, if you're going to have somebody sing an entire song, have it be some sort of part of their character development or be integral to the movie. Otherwise, I swear to God, that slows everything down. So, it's just so, and I swear, the song has like, it's all a chorus, and it's not a fun song. So he watches her, and then eventually he jumps in front of a semi-truck, but he wakes up in the ER, and he finds out that Decker didn't give him lithium, he's given him some lab-quality psychotropic hallucinogens. You're on what we used to call a bad trip. No, don't call it that, doctor. Don't say that. So he's in the hospital, and he runs into this guy. Now I'm talking fast. Narcisse, he's this guy, he's yelling, he wants to be taken home. They won't come for him. Where do they go? And he's like, what the fuck is going on? And so he says, they saw you, they're not going to come here. And this guy, he knows about Midian. That, of course, sends Boone's antennae up. He said, shut up, you want to ruin everything? You say Midian. So we immediately, again, I haven't mentioned the art in a while. I love it. Love the color of this. Love everything about it. It's where the monsters go. It takes away the pain. Then this guy's got some really weird finger knives, which I don't even know how to describe that. And so, see, they only take you for worthy. Midian's real, isn't it? It's a real place. A test, is it? You'll take me there if I pass the test, no maps. And then he just knows the directions to Midian, which, that has always bothered me. Just this guy just knows it. If he's not worthy, if the monsters don't deem him worthy, how did he get these directions? And then, if Boone's had hallucinations, nightmares about this place, and it's on a map somewhere, I feel like that's just low quality investigative reporting on his part. So he says, you know what, I'm going to show him worthy. I'm going to show my true face. I'm not a natural. So then he starts cutting his he's a monster. He's cutting his face. And he starts peeling his fucking face off. Again, in the movie, this is incredible because it's all done with practical effects and it looks cool. So Boone gets the fuck out of there. He runs out, he gets in a car, and he starts going. Decker shows up because he's going to check on Boone, and he's going to basically tell the police, like, yo, he definitely was murdering all these people. And he says, in the movie, he basically interrogates this guy, Narcisse, about where Boone is going, and Narcisse dies, but he comes back, you know what I'm saying. And eventually Boone, he gets to Midian, this graveyard. The graveyard's bigger than the town is, so what's it doing here? Why is it calling me? Only rows of cracking marble, tombs, and mausoleum statues spawned by no religion I ever heard of. It's all dead here. So he's been having I keep wanting to say hallucinations and nightmares about this place. He gets there, nothing's happening, so what do? You just gotta have a quick smoke. But then this guy comes out and he's gonna gut you. He's got a moon face, this guy. He doesn't look like how he looks in the movie. He's green here, in the movie he's red. So he says we should take him down and learn the green one's named Pelican, which I'm 95% sure that's Spanish for toupee. That's funny to me. And we see, so he's like, oh, Midian's real? Yeah, everything's true. God's an astronaut. Oz is over the rainbow. Midian's where the monsters live. Where you came to die. And again, that dialogue is in the movie. It's fucking word. So this guy, he bites him, which eventually is going to turn Boone into a Nightbreed, but Moonface is like, no, we can't do it. It's against the law, even though he's the one who first appeared and put a knife to his neck. Boone, he runs out of the cemetery, but who's waiting for him? The goddamn police. So they tell him to freeze. Again, look at this color. Like, the cover isn't cool enough for me to hang up, but I feel like I might cut out some pages because they look dope. So he says, look, I've told the cops everything. But Boone realizes, like, no, I didn't murder all those people. And so then he asks him about the pills. They weren't tranquilizers. You set me up. So he gets mad because he gave him some insane drugs. Decker yells, look out, he's got a gun. It's a little bit less dramatic in the movie. So then they just blast him full of holes like they've been trained to do. This is still protocol in 2018. He's got a gun, boom, 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 and then he's fucking dead as shit. And then they leave, and then he's put in a mortuary, and then he rises. He rises back from the dead. But this is the movie poster, so I mean, if you haven't seen it, you're kind of into it. That's what we're dealing with here. Again, I wish it was cool enough to do like a special Halloween episode, but whatever, the art was